In basketball's storied history, there have been defining moments. Jordan soaring above defenders, Shaq overpowering everyone in sight, Kobe hitting impossible shots. But 2016 brought something we'd never seen before: Stephen Curry. His season wasn't just dominant, it reshaped the sport. Records fell, defenses crumbled, and the game itself evolved. How did he pull it off? And why is 2016 Stephen Curry still one of the most talked about seasons in NBA history? Let's find out. 402 three-pointers, the first unanimous MVP, a record-breaking 73 wins. But this isn't just about stats. It's about a player who carried the hopes of a revolution and faced the crushing weight of expectations. Stick around as we explore how Stephen Curry's 2016 season became a phenomenon and why it remains unforgettable. In 2015, Stephen Curry officially announced himself to the basketball world. He wasn't just a star. He was the league MVP, leading the Golden State Warriors to a league-best 67-15 record. And to top it off, they claimed the NBA championship, defeating LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in 6 games. It seemed like the perfect Cinderella story. A player once doubted because of his size and ankle injuries now standing at the pinnacle of the sport. But not everyone was sold. Critics argued that the Warriors' title was more about luck than skill. They claimed the Warriors avoided tougher matchups in the playoffs, benefiting from injuries to opposing stars like Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. To the doubters, Curry wasn't the engine behind the Warriors' success. He was just a flashy shooter, someone who could dominate in the regular season but couldn't handle the pressure of the finals. The whispers were everywhere. The Warriors are a fluke, and so is Curry. Curry, however, heard every word, and he wasn't about to let it slide. Before the 2016 season tipped off, Curry addressed the noise head-on in an interview. His response wasn't just bold, it was dripping with sarcasm. "I apologize for being healthy. I apologize for playing who was in front of us. And I apologize for the accolades we earned as a team and individually." But this wasn't just about defending the Warriors. For Curry, this was personal. He wasn't interested in simply proving the critics wrong. He wanted to make them irrelevant. He wanted to leave no doubts, no debates, and no excuses. Curry entered the 2016 season with a mindset that went beyond greatness. He wasn't just out to win games. He wanted to change how people thought about the game itself. And as we'll see, he was about to do exactly that. 2016 wasn't just a season for Stephen Curry. It was a mission to redefine what dominance looked like in the NBA. The Warriors didn't waste any time silencing the doubters. Right out of the gate, they embarked on a jaw-dropping, record-breaking start to the season. Game after game, they dominated their opponents, winning their first 24 games. That shattered the previous record for the best start to a season in NBA history, set at 15-0. At the heart of it all, Stephen Curry. He wasn't just leading the charge, he was torching defenses like no one had seen before. Within those first 24 games, he had multiple 40-point outings, including a season opener where he dropped 40 points. Then came the game that truly showcased Curry's untouchable brilliance, a matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. He started strong, scoring 15 points in the first half, but it was in the third quarter where the magic happened. Curry caught fire, lighting up the Pelicans for 28 points in a single quarter. Step-back threes, no-look passes, absurdly deep shots. Everything he touched turned to gold. By the time the game ended, Curry had racked up 53 points, 9 assists, and 8 threes. Fans and commentators were left in disbelief. "It was like watching someone play a video game on cheat mode," a reporter said. Curry wasn't just hitting shots, he was rewriting the boundaries of what was possible in basketball. In just 3 games into the season, it was clear. Stephen Curry wasn't just good, he was transcendent. As the calendar turned to December, the Warriors were still undefeated, sitting at 20-0 and looking unstoppable. Curry continued his historic run, scoring at will and leading his team with an unrelenting pace. In just 10 games, he had already recorded multiple 20-point quarters, a feat that most players don't achieve in an entire season. By December 11th, the Warriors reached 24-0, defeating the Boston Celtics in double overtime. Curry poured in 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, showcasing his ability to dominate in any situation. At that point, it seemed like the Warriors couldn't lose. But the streak finally came to an end the very next night against the Milwaukee Bucks. After 24 straight wins, fatigue caught up and they suffered their first loss. Yet even in defeat, one thing was clear. The Warriors, led by Curry, were in the middle of something extraordinary. The season was just getting started, but Curry had already proven that 2016 wasn't just another year. It was history in the making. By 2016, Stephen Curry wasn't just playing basketball. He was transforming it. Before Curry, the three-point line was a tool, something used sparingly by most teams. But Curry turned it into the ultimate weapon. His range wasn't just beyond the arc. It extended far beyond what anyone thought possible. He regularly pulled up from 30, 32, even 35 feet, with the same confidence most players reserve for a layup. For defenses, it was a nightmare. Guard him close, and he'd dribble past you. Give him an inch, and he'd sink a three in your face. Teams were scrambling to adjust to a player who broke every convention of basketball spacing. By February, Curry had already shattered his own single-season record for three-pointers made, a record many believed would stand for years. This wasn't just a hot streak, it was a revolution. Curry redefined what teams considered a good shot and forced the entire league to rethink its strategies. Before Curry, deep threes were desperation shots. In 2016, they became a routine weapon. One analyst put it simply, the revolution reached its zenith on February 27, 2016, in a nationally televised game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The stakes were high. The Thunder were one of the best teams in the league, led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. But the Warriors were chasing history, and Curry was at the peak of his powers. The game was a heavyweight battle, with both teams trading punches. With seconds left in regulation, the Thunder had a slim lead, but a clutch Warriors play forced overtime. In OT, the tension was palpable. Each possession felt like the game could be decided at any moment. Then came the moment that stopped the basketball world. With the score tied and just seconds left, Curry casually dribbled up the court. Instead of setting up a play or driving to the basket, he pulled up from 32 feet near the half-court logo and launched a shot that hung in the air for what felt like an eternity. The ball sank through the net with 0.6 seconds remaining. The crowd erupted, teammates mobbed him, commentators couldn't believe it. In that moment, Curry didn't just win a game, he immortalized himself in basketball history. He finished the game with 46 points and tied the NBA record with 12 three-pointers. That's touchable. But this Warriors team, led by Stephen Curry, was rewriting what impossible meant in basketball. Every game felt like a playoff matchup. Opponents weren't just playing to win, they were playing to stop the Warriors from making history. For Golden State, there were no easy nights. Yet game after game, Curry rose to the occasion. Whether it was dropping 37 points to hand the San Antonio Spurs their first home loss of the season, or hitting clutch shots to escape close games, Curry's leadership was undeniable. His poise under pressure kept the Warriors on track, even as fatigue and the weight of expectations loomed over them. Every night, the Warriors faced opponents desperate to be the team that stopped history, an analyst noted. And yet, game after game, Curry delivered. The final game of the regular season arrived, and the Warriors were 72-9. One win separated them from immortality. The Memphis Grizzlies stood in their way, but at Oracle Arena, with history on the line, there was little doubt that Stephen Curry would rise to the moment. From the opening tip, Curry was electrifying. He scored 46 points and hit 10 three-pointers, bringing his season total to an unfathomable 402 threes, shattering his own record. No player in NBA history had ever made more than 300 threes in a season before, and Curry had left that milestone in the dust. When the final buzzer sounded, the Warriors had done it. 73 wins, the best regular season record in NBA history. Stephen Curry wasn't just an MVP, he was an anomaly, one commentator declared. And for the first time in history, the MVP vote was unanimous. Curry's 2016 season had already etched his name in the record books, but with the unanimous MVP award, he achieved something no player had ever done before. It was a season of superlatives, of impossibilities made real. But as Curry would soon learn, greatness in the regular season is only part of the story. The playoffs would bring the ultimate test. In the Western Conference Finals, the Warriors faced a powerful Oklahoma City Thunder team led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. The Thunder overwhelmed Golden State early, taking a commanding 3-1 series lead. The Warriors were one loss away from their dream season ending in disaster, but this Warriors team wasn't ready to fold. Game 5 saw Curry bounce back with 31 points to keep the season alive. In Game 6, Klay Thompson delivered an all-time performance with 41 points and 11 threes, but Curry played his part too, finishing with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. It all came down to Game 7 in Oakland. With everything on the line, Curry showed why he was the unanimous MVP. His 36-point performance, including dagger threes that demoralized the Thunder, secured a historic comeback. The Warriors became just the 10th team in NBA history to overcome a 3-1 deficit in a playoff series. The stage was set, a finals rematch against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The greatest regular season team in NBA history was now 4 wins away from cementing their legacy forever. The finals were meant to be the crowning moment for the Warriors' historic season, but instead it turned into an unthinkable collapse. After taking a commanding 3-1 series lead against LeBron James and the Cavaliers, the Warriors faltered. Stephen Curry, the heart and soul of the team, struggled to find his rhythm when it mattered most. In Game 7, with less than a minute left and the score tied, Kyrie Irving's step-back 3 over Curry silenced Oracle Arena. It was the dagger that sealed Cleveland's comeback and denied Golden State the championship. The greatest regular season in NBA history ended with the ultimate heartbreak. For Curry, who had carried the weight of a revolution on his shoulders, the sting was unbearable. Curry returned in Game 4 against the Trailblazers, and though he looked rusty early on, the fourth quarter and overtime belonged to him. Scoring 17 points in overtime alone, a league record, Curry single-handedly crushed Portland's hopes. By the end of the game, he had 40 points and let the world know he was back. It was a glimpse of the unstoppable Curry we saw all season, and it carried the Warriors past the Blazers in 5 games. But their next opponent wouldn't go down so easily.